Hi all, here Professor Ravi Kumar, School of Mechanical Engineering, Shasta DMTV University. I welcome you all to the next lecture today. Today we are going to see the applications of entropy principle. In the previous lecture, we have covered the entropy principle. We have seen some numerical problems based on the entropy concept, basic entropy concepts. We have seen the derivation part of application of entropy to a non-flow processes as well as for flow processes. So today basically we will see various applications of entropy principle. So if we look at the entropy principle, which says that the entropy of an isolated system, or you can say the entropy of universe, is keep on increasing. It remains the same only when all the processes associated with the universe are reversible, but none of the process is reversible in nature. So the entropy of universe keep on increasing. It remains the same only when at the state of equilibrium. It will be maximum at the state of equilibrium, right? And it will be zero, right? Change in entropy is zero if all processes are reversible. So the change of entropy principle is one of the most important laws of physical science. So any irreversible process is accompanied by an increase in the entropy of the universe. The net increase in entropy of universe, right, also quantifies the irreversibility associated with the process. Higher the change in entropy of the universe, higher will be the irreversibilities associated with the process. So we have to minimize the irreversibility in order to reduce the change in entropy of the universe. But nowhere change in entropy of universe will be lesser than zero. If it is going to be the case, that case is impossible. So this entropy principle basically gives you an idea about whether a given process or a given device is possible or not. If my change of entropy is greater than equal to zero, in that case my processes or the devices will be possible. If it is exactly zero, right, change entropy is exactly zero, my process is reversible or my device is reversible, right? If it is greater than zero, my process is irreversible or device is irreversible. If it is going to be less than zero, my process and device are impossible. Such kind of device will be violating the second law of thermodynamics. So today we'll see some of the applications, right, of entropy principle. So let's consider the first case, the heat transfer through finite temperature difference. So let's assume there are two bodies, right, two reservoirs at some definitive temperature of T1 and T2, provided that T1 is greater than T2, right? So heat is getting transferred from one reservoir and going to the second reservoir. So that is the case, the first case that we are going to discuss. First case is heat transfer through finite temperature difference. That's the first case that we will cover today. So as I said, we are considering two bodies of constant heat capacity, and at temperature T1 and T2, provided that T1 is greater than T2. So I say this is the first body, or I can say the reservoir 1, and this is the second body which I am considering here. This is reservoir 2. So this is at T2 and this is at T1, and both are connected by a pipe, and heat is getting transferred in this at Q. So if I draw the system boundary like this, so this is my system boundary basically, all right. So this is my system boundary. So what is basically happening here? Heat is getting transferred from reservoir 1 to reservoir 2, right? As I clearly said that a thermal energy reservoir is a body of infinite heat capacity, right? Infinite heat capacity, which is capable of transferring or absorbing unlimited quantity of heat without any appreciable change in its thermodynamic properties. So even though heat is getting transferred from the reservoir 1 my T1 is not changing, right? It will be almost constant, and the heat is getting supplied to reservoir 2. It is absorbing even though temperature not changing, because I have assumed these are the reservoirs. All right. So condition is T1 is greater than T2. So the reservoir 1 which is losing heat. So when I am losing heat, right, what is then? There is a degradation of energy. A degradation of energy is nothing but it will be measured with the help of entropy. So basically my entropy is decreasing. If I am saying my energy is losing and somebody is gaining the energy, entropy will be increasing. So heat is going, so negative. So I can say the change in entropy of reservoir 1 delta S1 is nothing but minus Q divided by T1. Why this minus coming? Because heat is going out, is losing the energy. Change in entropy of reservoir 2 will be plus Q divided by T2. Is there anything which is going out? There is nothing going out to the surrounding. These both are system, basically is a part of system. So if I add these two, right, delta S system is nothing but delta S1 plus delta S2. I can write. So I can these two. What about delta S surrounding? Delta S surrounding, as heat is not going out, is 0. So delta S of universe is summation of these two. So delta S universe is delta S system plus delta S surrounding is equal to delta S surrounding is 0, only delta S system is there. If I add this, if I take Q as common, right, if I take Q as common, I can write 1 by T2 minus 1 upon T1. Can I write? If I add this, further simplification can also be done. So this will be T1 minus T2 divided by T1 T2. So this I got delta S universe, right, in the case of heat transfer through finite temperature difference. Now if you look at this term, T1 is greater than T2, that means what? Delta S universe is greater than 0 or greater than 1, right? If my T1 is T1 is greater than T2, I can say delta S universe is greater than 0. If it is greater than 0, then what does it mean? Heat transfer through finite difference is an irreversible process, right? Is an irreversible process, but it is possible. But it's possible. I am getting greater than 0. This is the first case, very simple case that we have seen, heat transfer through finite temperature difference. Now we'll see the second case, when two fluids at two different temperatures are going to mix. What will happen? Mixing of two fluids, right? Second case that we are going to discuss. So second application of it, right? Mixing of two fluids. So let us assume there are two fluids, right, at two different temperatures, right, in a compartment. I am drawing here compartment. These are the two compartments in which fluids are filled. One fluid 1 is having mass m1, specific heat c1, and temperature initial is T1. I will write small t1, right, and this is m2, c2, t2 for fluid 2, and this is the partition right in between, and I am assuming that walls are fully insulated, so nothing is coming out right from the wall. So this is a closed container basically, and walls are fully insulated. So if I say what is happening to the universe, nothing will happen, alright, because nothing is not universe, surroundings, nothing is going out in the surroundings. So this is a fluid 1 and fluid 2. This is the case, and they are in separate compartment, right? So how to analyze that? So two fluids at two different temperatures, T1 and T2, and provided that, again here condition is provided, T1 is greater than T2. If T1 is greater than T2, let assume I am removing the partition, I am allowing two fluids to mix together. When they are going to mix together, right? The final, let's suppose the final common temperature is Tf. So Tf is the final common temperature, final common temperature achieved by two fluids, right, when they are going to mix together, when I am removing this partition. So how to find out how or what all different things are happening? So I need to apply first law, right, energy balance. Then I will go for applying the second law, entropy change. Then I will come to some conclusion that this is happening to this process, and we need to find out whether this is possible or not, which kind of process is it. Alright, so let's start from energy balance. So if we apply the energy balance, so energy balance means heat lost by the fluid 1 is equal to heat gained by the fluid 2. So I can say M1 C1 T1 minus Tf is equal to M2 C2 Tf minus T2. So if you equate it and solve it, get Tf value out of this, I will get M1 C1 T1 plus M2 C2 T2 divided by M1 C1 plus M2 C2. This is equation number 1. So I got the final common temperature of two fluids when they are going to mix. One thing is over. Now let's go for, this is application of energy balance. Now we see the entropy, right? So change in entropy of 1, right? Change in entropy of 1 is nothing but, let's suppose this completely specific heat is constant, right, in the constant volume, right? So I can say M1 C1 ln of Tf divided by T1, right? And delta S of system 2 is nothing but M2 C2 ln of Tf by T2. So these are the part of system. Anything is going to the surroundings, nothing is going out of the boundaries. Delta S surrounding is 0. So delta S of universe is just summation of these two. So I can add M1 C1 ln of Tf by T1 plus M2 C2 ln of Tf by T2. This is equation number 2. Now I need to find out which kind of process it is. To make our problem very easy, we assume that both are having same specific heat, right, and same mass. We are assuming both the fluids are having same mass and same specific heat. If that is the case, then what will be the scenario? Scenario will be very simple. If I say both are having same mass, right, same specific heat, right, so M and C will take out of it, and our problem will be very easy. So we do so. So if we do so, if I say M1 C1 is equal to M2 C2, right, or you can say mass and C is a constant, so the final temperature will be nothing but T1 plus T2 divided by 2. Very simple way we can find out. So the average temperature of these two will be the Tf. If that is the case, right, I can solve this. So delta S universe is nothing but, add this, so this M into C, because M1 C1 equal to M2 CC, I can write M into C, simple, right, that is mass into C, both are having same thing, right, MC ln of Tf square divided by T1 T2. So there's the case, right, I can write from here. Clear? So if I substitute the value of Tf from here, right, in terms of absolute temperatures, right, if I substitute this value here in absolute temperature, I can write 2mc ln of T1 plus T2 divided by 2 divided by under root T1 T2. So I got this expression. So clearly it is visible, if my T1 is greater than T2, this equation will be positive. This equation will be positive, or another way you can say, the arithmetic mean is always greater than the geometric mean. Arithmetic mean is always greater than the geometric mean. That means what? Delta S of universe is is greater than 0, again we came to the conclusion that the mixing of two fluids, right, is an irreversible process, right, but still it is possible. So even though this is an irreversible process, if we want to analyze this, we have to replace irreversible process by we have seen that mixing of two fluids is an irreversible process. So let's start the third case, right, where we will see the maximum work obtainable from two bodies at two finite temperatures. Let me consider two bodies and we are keeping them at two different finite temperature, and we will see how much maximum work can be obtained. So let's assume there are two bodies, right, of constant heat capacities at temperature T1, T2 respectively, T1 being higher than T2. If two bodies are merely brought together into thermal contact, the final temperature achieved will be the average of two temperatures, right? So just I say this body is at temperature T1, this body at temperature T2, I simply brought these two bodies together in thermal contact, the final temperature will be the average of two temperatures without any work transfer. If they are not producing any work, right, final temperature will be the average of two. Let us assume now between these two bodies a heat engine is operating and it is producing some part of the heat which is coming from high temperature body into the work, and the remainder heat is going to be rejected to a body 2. So that is the case we are assuming now. So we are considering two bodies, right? These are the two bodies. So body 1, right, at temperature T1, and body 2 at temperature T2, and from body 1 and body 2 in between we are attaching a heat engine, alright, and heat engine is producing some work, alright, it is getting heat from here and finally rejecting to the body 2. So that's the case, right? Let's suppose T1 is going to TF, right, because of this interaction, and this is also going to TF. That's the case, alright. So Q1 is going and Q2 is coming this side, right, and we are getting the net work out. This is the case. So as it is drawing some heat from body 1, so body 1 temperature will decrease. Let's suppose final temperature up to which it is decreasing is TF. Body 2 to which heat is getting rejected, its temperature will increase. Let's suppose the final temperature is TF, and as a result of that it is generating some work out of it, output from it. So the heat supplied or heat taken from the body 1, we can find out C. Let's suppose it is having constant heat capacity C, not C, and this is T1 minus TF. This per unit mass I am calculating. You can add the mass if you are taking the total heat transfer. So this per unit mass heat which has been transferred from body 1, alright, heat which has been rejected to body 2 can be calculated like C TF minus T2. So the net work is nothing but Q1 minus Q2. We need to apply the steady flow energy equation here. So Q1 is equal to Q2 plus W net. So W net is Q1 minus Q2. So if you do so, you can find out C T1 plus T2 minus 2 times of TF. So this is W net. This is equation number 1. So if we look at this, maximum work can only be obtained if my TF is minimum, right? TF is minimum. That will only be possible if all the processes are made to be reversible, then only is possible that we can get minimum TF. Clear not? So how to do so? So this we applied energy balance. Let's go for now entropy for various part of this system. So let's suppose entropy change of body 1. Entropy change of body 1 is nothing but C ln of TF divided by T1. Let's suppose these are kept at constant pressure, right? So TF by T1, and body 2, this is body 2, C ln of TF divided by T2. These are the one thing. Now change in entropy of heat engine. Heat engine is a cyclic device, right? It works on a cycle, and energy change for a cyclic process is always zero. And entropy is a property of system, right? Entropy is a property of system, so change in property of any system in a cyclic process is zero. So delta S of heat engine, that is cyclic integration of ds, is zero. If is anything going out of this to the surrounding, nothing is going to the surrounding, because we have generated the work, and work already got introduced here. So delta S of universe is summation of these all these three terms. So delta S universe is addition of all this. So if you add this, C ln of Tf square can be say divided by T1 T2. You got this. Clear not? Clear not? Now, as per the entropy principle, it should be greater than equal to 0, right? It should be greater than equal to 0 if it is a process, a possible process. So delta S universe is greater than equal to 0. So this should be greater than equal to 0, right? We can write. But thing is that we want to generate the maximum work, and the maximum work is only possible if Tf is minimum. Tf is minimum, and Tf will be minimum only when processes are reversible. If that is going to be the case, then this delta S universe will be 0, right? So Tf will be minimum only when processes are reversible. Processes are reversible, that means what? Delta S universe is equal to 0, right? So delta S universe, that is C ln of Tf square by T1 T2 is equal to 0. Can we say? Or you can say ln Tf square T1 T2 is equal to 0, that is nothing but ln of 1, right? And that can also be written as Tf square is equal to T1 T2, or Tf is equal to under root T1 T2. This is the final temperature, right? Minimum lowest temperature at which we will have maximum work, right? Maximum work. So W max, now you can write. So W max, when you are writing, you can write like W max is equal to C T1 plus T2 minus 2 times of this T1 T2. So this can be written as W max is equal to C under root T1 minus under root T2 whole square. So this is the maximum possible work obtainable from two bodies at two finite temperature. So look at the minimum common temperature Tf, that ranges from T1 plus T2 by 2 in the case if there is no work transfer, to under root T1 T2 when there is a maximum work transfer, right? So the common minimum temperature of these two bodies will be the T1 plus T2 by 2 when there is no work transfer, to under root T1 T2 in the case of maximum work transfer. There is a third application of entropy principle. Now the last application of entropy principle basically is the maximum work obtainable from a body at finite temperature and a thermal energy reservoir. Now we are replacing one of this body by a thermal energy reservoir. Then what will be the case that we have to look for? The next case, maximum work obtained from a body at T1 and a thermal TER, thermal energy reservoir at T0. So thermal energy reservoir, keep in mind, its temperature will not change, right? So this is the thermal energy reservoir at T0, right? It is getting heat from body 1 at T, right? And producing some work, and finally Q minus W is coming here to reservoir. This is the case, right? So the moment the temperature of body 1 reaches to T0, right, this engine will stop working, right, and will get the maximum work output, right? So the final temperature of our body T is nothing but T naught. But this is thermal energy reservoir whose temperature is constant. It's not going to vary irrespective of the heat supplied or rejected from it. Right. So we can apply now. Change in entropy of body 1 is nothing but C ln of T naught divided by T, because final temperature is T naught. Delta S of heat engine is nothing but ds is equal to 0. Delta S of thermal energy reservoir is nothing but what is coming here, Q minus W by T naught, that is coming, and T naught is T naught. So this is the case that you got. Clear or not? That's the one thing. Now if you add this all, nothing is going out, so delta S of universe is nothing but add these all things, C ln of T naught by T, right, plus Q minus W by T naught. This is the delta S universe, and this should be greater than equal to 0 as per the entropy principle. Clear? If you solve this, one more step we are going. So if you solve this, I am raising this term. Take this term, right, that side. So I can say W minus Q by T naught is less than equal to 0. Less than equal to C ln T naught by T, or W less than equal to Q, take this Q that side, plus T naught into C ln of T naught by T. I got this term. Clear or not? So W will be maximum, right? W will be maximum only when processes are reversible. When processes are going to be reversible, right, this will be equal to exactly 0, right? Delta S universe will be exactly equal to 0. If that is the case, right, so I can write simply W is equal to, so for maximum work, right, delta S universe will be equal to 0, and that is going to the case, simply this will be W is equal to, so W is equal to Q plus C T naught ln of T naught by T. Clear? Or you can say W is equal to Q is heat transfer, right? So C T minus T naught, I can write this, plus C T naught ln of T naught by T. You take C common, so W, this is W max, basically max condition for maximum work. This will be exactly equal to this term. So take C common, so this will become T1 minus, no, it's not T minus T naught minus T naught ln of T by T naught. I can write in this way. So this is the maximum work obtainable in the case of a body at T and a thermal energy reservoir at T naught. That's last application of entropy principle when there is a direct intervention of mechanical work. Now we will see the two more work, right? The system exhibiting the external mechanical irreversibility. These are the internal mechanical irreversibility. Now we will go for external, right, mechanical irreversibility. So systems involving external mechanical irreversibility. So the first case we will see the isothermal dissipation of work. That is the first case. So first case is isothermal dissipation of work. So let's consider the case of isothermal dissipation of work by a system to internal energy of a reservoir. So that will happen like that. Suppose it is a resistor through which a current I is transferring, right, and resistor is in contact with a thermal energy reservoir. So this is the resistor, right? This is my system, right, and through which I current is going. So I current is going basically. So what is basically happening? Q will be generated, work is getting supplied and work is going to, this is surrounding at T naught, right, and I is going like, and this is system boundary, correct. So this is a electrical resistor carrying current. So current is getting supplied, due to which what will happen? It is basically the work is getting supplied, right? Work is getting supplied to the surrounding. Basically, it's going from the surrounding. So in steady state, the temperature of the system will be constant. Temperature of the system will be constant. So when temperature is constant, nothing will happen to the entropy of the system. Entropy of the system. So the delta S of universe, right, will be because of the surrounding only, system delta S of surrounding, because in surrounding what is happening, whatever heat generated because of the work supplied, right, because of the work supplied, right, your entropy of the surrounding will increase, right, because that work is getting converted into the heat. The electrical work that you supplied is getting converted into the heat. So as per the first principle, first law, W is equal to Q in this case, because internal energy is not getting changed for the system. System is resistor, so resistor is at constant temperature, internal energy is constant in this case. So nothing is happening to internal energy. Whatever work you have supplied is getting converted to the heat, and that heat is getting supplied to the surrounding. Alright. So delta S of universe in this case is simply Q divided by T naught, that is nothing but W by T naught. W by T naught. T naught is the temperature of surrounding. So in isothermal dissipation of work, right, there will be change in entropy of the surrounding only. System is not contributing anything. So delta S of universe is this. As W is positive, delta S of universe is greater than 0. So isothermal dissipation of work is also an irreversible process. That's the first case. Take second case, adiabatic dissipation of work. Now second case we are considering. So adiabatically we are supplying the work, what will happen? Alright, so let us assume there is a closed container, right, insulated closed container, and this is a paddle wheel through which we are supplying the work in the system, right, this is system, and we are supplying the work. So in this way what is happening, boundaries are insulated, nothing is going out, so whatever work you are supplying is going to increase the internal energy of the system, is it system. So work you have supplied, right, due to which there will be a change in temperature of the system. So initial temperature is Ti and final temperature is going to be Tf. So we can say in this case delta S universe is entirely due to the delta S of system, right, and delta S of surrounding. So nothing is going to the surrounding, this is 0 to delta S of system, that is nothing but C ln of T final divided by T initial, delta S universe. So as Tf is greater than Ti, so this will be greater than equal to 0, clear, greater than 0. That means this process is possible, but process is irreversible. Even though this is an irreversible process, how to analyze this? We have to replace this irreversible process by an equivalent reversible process. So when you are representing this over temperature versus entropy, this process will be something like this, going from initial to final. This should be replaced by an equivalent reversible process. This is reversible process, this is irreversible process. So irreversible process will be represented by the dotted line, right, reversible process. So when you are analyzing this irreversible process, it should be replaced by a reversible process. So these are the different application of entropy principle, right. So with this I am closing the today's discussion, right. In the next chapter, next class when we will meet, right, I will come up with the some more problems on entropy concept, right, or entropy principle, right. If you are still have some doubt in the content which we have covered today, feel free to write in the comment section, or you can directly text me, right, on my WhatsApp number which already I shared with you. So see you all in next class with a new topic. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Good day.